Good morning, everybody. Been a very sad weekend for us folk at Gregson Lane when we heard on Friday that Martin Banks had died after an illness caused by a rare form of cancer, which was diagnosed last year. And in typical Martin fashion, he battled on posting songs for the virtual playlist until December. His enthusiasm for folk music was completely undimmed, and he was with us right from the beginning back at the Castle Hotel back in the late 80s. And 5 years later, he and myself and Keith formed Celtic Fringe, and we'd been together for 27 years. And we had great fun, a lot of performances, and we never did too much. We wanted to treat it as a hobby, and we absolutely loved every minute of it. And Martin's contribution was huge. Should mention three things particularly: is his great love of the Boran drum, which he used on many songs that we did, and he used to go up performing on the drum at the folk club regularly for other people as well. He also had this wonderful stentorian voice and stentorian singing voice, and we used to joke that if we were playing at Gregson Lane, we would be heard in either Blackburn or Preston or both when Martin was around, with or without a microphone. He was that sort of singer. And also I was always amazed at the great repertoire of Scottish songs that he knew. So he used to sing lead on quite a few of those. We obviously have always had a lot of those in our repertoire. He used to sing quite a lot of them, and very well too, and even managed to put a bit of a Scottish accent on here and there. So all in all, he's going to be missed fantastically by everyone. He was a people person. He loved social interaction, and that's something obviously with the lockdown as well that he missed really badly. In his last few months, we weren't able to go and see him. So I'm sure one or two people will be saying a few words about him as well. So I'll leave it at that. I could go on for another 5 minutes easily about Martin Banks. Meanwhile, I'm going to do a song now that we did with Celtic Fringe, and it's one that I'll always associate with Martin. I think it's one of the first ones we ever did back in the 90s, and we've been singing it fairly regularly ever since. It's a song written by Alan Bell, one of the many great Alan Bell songs. Martin was a great fan of Alan Bell's music and used to sing one or two of his songs apart from this one. But this is one that Alan wrote back in the 1960s or early 70s, called Windmills. And it goes something like this. Probably Keith will be on guitar with me on this, as he will be and has been on quite a few of the songs I've done over the last month or two. I'd like to thank him for that, by the way. So this is Alan Bell's Windmills. In days gone by, when the world was much younger, men harnessed the wind to work for mankind. Seamen built tall ships to sail on the ocean, while landsmen built windmills, the corn for to grind. And around and around and around went the big sails, turning the shafts and the great wooden wheels. Creaking and groaning, the millstones kept turning, grinding to flour the good corn from the fields. In Flanders and Spain and the lowlands of Holland and the kingdoms of England and Scotland and Wales, windmills sprang up all around the wild coastline, ships of the land with their high canvas sails. And it's around and around and around went the big sails, turning the shafts and the great wooden wheels. Creaking kept turning, grinding to flour the good corn from the fields. The Lancashire lads work hard at the good earth, ploughing and sowing as the seasons declare, waiting to reap all the rich golden harvest, while the miller is idle his mill to repair. And it's around and around and around went the big sails, turning the shafts and the great wooden wheels, creaking and groaning, the millstones kept turning, grinding to flour the good corn from the fields. Windmills of wood, all blackened by weather, windmills of stone, glaring white in the sun, windmills like giants ready for tilting, windmills that died in the gales and were gone. And around and around went the big sails, turning the shafts and the great wooden wheels, creaking and groaning, the millstones kept turning, grinding to flour the good corn from the fields, grinding to flour the good corn from the fields. Rest in peace, Martin.